everybody. Well, oh, what? That is way too loud. Let's knock that down a little bit. Okay, so I am here broadcasting yet again for the third day in a row. But I have a special guest today. Actually, I have two special guests today. But we're starting off with one extra special guest right now. I'm actually here with none other than Mr.
Hey, Glenn. How's it going? I don't. I don't. It's sounding good over here. I can hear you perfect. Yep, I can hear you perfect. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, so my latest obsession, as you can see, my 8 videos I posted in a row on it, but, I had gone, you probably saw it, Glenn, I had been on, I went to E3 this past year and, got to see the cabinet in its early alpha stages, and I was excited, but they were kinda keeping the guardrails on it. They only let us do certain things, so I didn't really feel like I left that interview with a good perspective on the cabinet. I was interested, but, I wasn't overly excited. And then, it came out kind of unexpectedly. The way it launched, it didn't have like a big, a lot of, marketing around it really outside of like a bunch of the pre stuff. And then it all of a sudden popped up and I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm really, really having a lot of fun with it. And I think its openness is what I like about it because I've always been someone that likes to tinker with things. And I know you're like that too because I see all the things you create on your channel. But I think the openness of the platform, because I view it more as a platform, is kind of surprising to me. And they're really on top of changes and updates, which is also kind of surprising knowing some of their past. Maybe it wasn't as glorious in the past as far as At Games as a company goes and some of their products. But yeah, I've been pretty impressed with it so far. Can you still hear me, Glenn? Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you fine now. So there's a couple of things. I guess the way the Steam service works, I know that a lot of people aren't really happy about the dollar an hour thing, but the way those servers handle, sending game data back to the At Games machine, it's pretty good. I mean, I've seen I have a decent network at home though, so just keep that in mind. But like the latency is really good. You're getting 60 frames per second, pretty constant. And I know there's some people that aren't as happy about the fact that okay, there's an hour thing, but At Games, I don't know if this is news to you, Glenn. You probably may already know this, but maybe some of the people watching don't. Is they are working on a way to live or do a local Steam support so that you don't have to use their server, so you wouldn't be charged $1 an hour. So if you have those games on your network and streaming, up to the cloud or streaming down from the cloud, you're actually going to stream locally on your network. So if your system's on your same network, you just stream the games that way. So I was really impressed with the Steam support outside of the dollar thing that I know some people aren't that happy with. But the other thing, yeah. So there was a couple of games where there was a little bit of latency, but that was actually my fault. So it's not. There is one piece of it that isn't very clear. So when you log on to the Steam service, it it allows you to install the game, and when you install the game, it's not clear though when you're doing this that you're installing it on that virtual machine that's in the cloud, in their D2D cloud. But if you didn't know that, It also will show you the other systems that are running Steam on your local network because it has that ability. So what I was doing is I was installing the game on my local machine. So the reason why that isn't very good is because it's actually streaming it from my local machine to their cloud server and back to my machine. So that was inducing a little bit of added latency. When I tested it actually the other way, the way you're supposed to, where you install it on their server, the latency is perfect. Like I didn't even notice any very minimal lag. Yep. Yeah. So I have late breaking news on this actually. So and Glenn and I didn't talk beforehand really. So I'm just telling you, we talked about our family stuff about this. He has no clue. So this is brand new. So actually this morning, they gave me some firmware that they're gonna plan to update next week. And I haven't even tested it yet. So I just got it this morning at like 6:37 local Arizona time. But it supposedly gets beyond that 10. Because I know you were showing it on your stream where it says that there's a second page of games, but you can't actually get there. So supposedly that's going to be fixed in that version. So I have it. I just haven't tested it yet. If I can, we're talking about how Classic Kim doing with all this week. I've been pretty busy on YouTube. So if I go away for like 30 minutes, I'm going to test it today. And hopefully I'll share it with everyone to make sure that works. But their plan is to roll it into an update this coming week. Yeah, patch load. Yeah. 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 So do you want to know the story on that? Okay, so I was talking to my friend Daniel, and I said, "Hey, I think those machines are available today, the At Games machines." And he is not interested in them at all. He has no interest. He's like, "Nah, it's At Games." Like he's using the history of the company as like he's not giving them a chance. He's going, "Look, they've burned me before. I'm not interested." He's completely just like not having it. So I was like, well, I go, I played it at E3. It was kind of cool. I at least want to try it out. I feel like the company, they seem like they're really trying. So he goes, well, do you know if there's close to you? So I go on the Sam's Club app, and it shows there's one Sam's Club that's kind of far from my house. It's about an hour away. So I wouldn't typically in Arizona. Everything is it's like they build these communities and put everything around it. You really don't have to go very far. I don't know if that's like that where you live, Glenn, but I go that far out of my comfort area. I kind of creature of habit in my right. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go. And he goes, but don't buy it. You said you were gonna buy it. You told me. I was like, I'm just gonna look at it. And I'm just gonna look at it means I'm gonna buy it, right? I mean, there's no I'm just gonna look at it. So so I get there and I told him, I said, I'm in the parking lot. I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. And so I went radio silenced on him. I was ignoring his calls. And on the text, he's like, dude, I know you're buying it. You're not responding to me because you're buying it. You said you weren't gonna buy it. And so I my next text to him was the picture of it in my And he goes, "You're such an idiot." So I couldn't help myself, Glenn. I know you and I don't know each other. I know you like to tinker with things, and I'm a tinkerer. I want to like get inside and play with it and see what it can do. And I couldn't help myself, so I did it. And classic Kim didn't know, so shh.
What the thing you got to tell her is basically, hopefully my order is working. You know, some people saying my order isn't working, but I noticed ladies say, "What, this old pair of shoes? I've had these forever." You just slide closet somewhere and say, "Kim, what are you talking about? That's been here since you arrived. It's been in there the whole time."
I think she'd notice, but I like where you're going.
Well, I'm
Yes,
glad that she didn't kill you or anything like that, because we need you in the community. We need your help, and you do some really good videos out there.
thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. It's been fun. You're pretty much the reason why I started YouTube. So you're I always done MAME and game emulation and things like that as a hobby for, I don't know, like 15 years or so. It might even be longer than that at this point, but I always felt alone in it. I don't never really went outside and exploited. Oh wow, you've changed your background. I wish I could do that. That's cool. I
We'll
went out
work on
and
that. We'll work on that.
yeah, I never went and to any of these communities, and I didn't even think to look in Facebook groups. And then when I got interested in the Arcade One Up thing, which sort of like re-sparked my whole interest in all of this again, just because it was new and it was arcade related. I you had built the fan page. I don't know. I just didn't realize there were so many other people that were into arcades and tinkering and all this stuff. And I don't know why I never decided to go out, but I felt like I used to do emulation. And then when I opened it up, I didn't know that there were this many other people that actually cared about this stuff.
We're all wackos.
Yeah, well, we are. Yeah, I do think so. The funny thing is I see a lot of people in your groups like that. They'll kind of want to get validation that their hobby isn't out of control, yet they're surrounded by a bunch of people whose their hobby's already out of control. Someone's like, "No, it's cool. It's you have 10 cabinets. Ah, you're good. Add an 11th, add a 12th." And it's like, well, maybe we all have problems. I don't know. So it is what it is. We at least, you know what? There's way worse things, Glenn, that we could be doing. If
Well,
arcade games, yeah,
yes. I mean, absolutely. Especially, from a wife's or girlfriend's point of view, she knows where you are. You're at home, and if you're cheating with a arcade machine. So I think they're usually okay with that.
yes, I'm cheating. Yes, I love my arcade game.
Now, right now, with all the machines you have, and you have more than just arcade one-ups. You have other machines as well.
Yeah.
What's kind of your favorite? I mean, what is the one that you have the most affection for, aside from Kim?
So did you see the Beast? The video I did on the thing called the Beast.
Yes, I
I
did.
call it the Beast. That's not what it's called, but it's called the. And by the way, I still owe a video 2 and 3 on that. But that's a. It's this large cabinet that's.
Wait to get Glenn's radio solution. What do you mean? It's G.
Yeah,
GRS.
Glenn's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, same letters. So yeah, the Game Room Solutions cabinet, it's really large. It's one of those things where if you started, let's say you started the hobby with an arcade one-up and you built that in an hour, this isn't your next step. This might be like a couple steps after. Like you don't want to go directly to this because there's no wire harnesses. You have to do everything manually. I mean, you don't have to, but I decided to make it a MAME machine, that can do all sorts of different emulation and do a hyperspin PC. So you got to use an iPac 4.
Right.
There's no wire harness for that. So, I mean, there's a lot of, wiring that you have to do. The build process is not straightforward like it would be with an arcade one-up. I mean, it's all documented. It takes a little bit of time. And I think the reason why I like that cabinet so much is maybe not so much cabinet decided to put in it, because I really have access to every game system you could ever want. So, I mean, outside of probably the most current it gets is PS2. It doesn't really go beyond PS2, but a lot of those games get into the later console. I don't really feel like they translate to an arcade cabinet very well. I never understood why someone wanted to play ultra modern games on an arcade cabinet, because the controls don't really matter. Right. So that's probably my favorite. I also have been playing with, I don't know if you've seen this, you can kind of maybe see it behind me, that Rec Room Masters vertical cabinet.
Yes.
It's like 3/4 scale vertical. I haven't really dug into that yet, but I think it's going to be really cool to play like games like Donkey Kong and Centipede and, asteroids on a cabinet. Asteroids, wrong aspect ratio, but that's going to be a fun cab to play with. I haven't really fully exploited that yet, so I kind of have my hand on a lot of different things. So definitely not just arcade one up or not just at games.
Now, that was your favorite machine. What was your favorite project you've done so far? I know you've made quite a few different cabinets. I think you even sold some and gave some away. I don't know if we stored them, but what is your favorite conversion that you've done?
So you know what? This is gonna sound weird because it's not a game I really even loved or even knew about, but probably I get excited over the idea of I have to try to find something. You know, a lot of these PCBs, if you try to go and find arcade PCBs, sometimes they're hard to find or they're just really expensive. And there was a game I got introduced. Do you have to go, Glenn? I hear someone in the background. Are they calling you?
Yeah, that's my mother needing something, I'm sure.
Oh, maybe can Cole handle it for a couple minutes?
Keep going, we're good.
Cole got it under control. All right. So yeah, so this my buddy introduced me to a game called Tatsunoko versus Capcom, which was on the Nintendo Wii, but I didn't it was released in arcades, but it was only put in candy cabs, so it was an imported PCB. And the cool thing about this thing is it was based on Nintendo Wii hardware, but it was specialized Nintendo Wii hardware. So it was kind of hard to find. And he's like, "Hey, it'd be really cool to make that cab because a lot of people liked that game, but it's not this massive game that had all this fanfare." And that was probably my most fun project, only because it was hard to find that board, and I didn't want to do it via emulation. I really wanted to do it with the original arcade hardware, and it was just weird because it came in a Wii. It looked like a Wii in sheet metal, but it had a out board that was a JAMA. It was just a really cool. I don't know. It was just different. So I was excited about working with something I had never seen before. So maybe that's not my favorite to play, but it was definitely my favorite to build.
And that's actually I do. I mean, for you and definitely for me, that's sometimes more fun is actually taking something, reworking it, actually getting it to work, and
Yeah.
and but you're definitely know what you're better at. You're definitely better at making everything nice and clean and proper. Me, it looks like someone took a rat's nest, threw it in there to work. But
Well,
you're
Glenn,
very good at making it very neat and perfect, and I wish I could do that, but I definitely cannot do that.
well, I appreciate you saying that because later videos, you and I were talking about this offline, is I've been so busy with like my day job and the kids and Kim, and so I haven't had a whole lot of time. And so my later, probably my last like 4 mod videos, I keep using this line. Yeah, I know it's messy right now, but I'm going to clean it up later. And it is true. I do plan later, but I'm getting called out that my mods have been getting a little bit messy in the back with wiring. So
Well, it's also difficult. I mean, you're doing the mod, you're documenting what you're doing, you're taking pictures, you're taking video, still have to edit the video, publish the video. I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean,
yeah,
it sometimes, I mean, editing, like my Star Wars yoke one I had done, just that beginning, I totally ripped off George Lucas, but I did it, I did it with, educational purposes, if you will. But that was like a week's worth for those exactly for those really cheesy effects. So it took me a week. To have the machine I have, the editing software you have, it takes time. And I know you like that aspect as well. You like putting a little something fun in the beginning. I enjoyed that part of it almost as much as playing the games.
Well, I liked that. One of the things that I hadn't spoken to you yet, it was very apparent to me right away that you were a big fan of Streets of Rage, and so I was watching your video with your cat. It's like it made me laugh, all that stuff, and so maybe part of it was being inspired by that. But maybe a lot of people don't know this. I don't know if I really talked about it. I actually went to school for I wanted to be a filmmaker. That's what I wanted to do, I'm not very good at cinematography and all that stuff, but I do enjoy it. So it's something I'm passionate about, but I didn't pursue it as a career. So there is a part of me that probably spends an ungodly amount of time on like intros or thinking about what would be funny or relevant to the topic. So I think sometimes I don't know about you, but I spend so much, and you must, because I watch them. You probably spend so much time on the intro. They're like, oh my God, I just burnt like 3 hours or even a day or something on the intro, and you didn't even get to the rest of the game yet or whatever.
Well, if anyone out there in my videos, they know it takes like 5, 10, 15 minutes before you get to anything about the video.
I always appreciate it. I was like, man, sometimes I remember the endings. You thank so many people, which is really cool because it's exposure to. I mean, really bringing awareness to a lot of these other people that maybe people don't know about. And so if they enjoy something you're doing, they may enjoy another YouTuber, which is really cool because we could all of us that are smaller could use as much of that as possible, right? Because we're all
Right,
trying to grow the channels
right.
and
And
get our
I've always tried to make mine more like an old cheesy TV show, I guess. So I have your beginning. And actually, if you take a look at an old TV show, my intro and my outro is maybe a little bit longer, but they're pretty comparable. But you're right. That's at the end. I wanted to give credit to some people who may not have gotten exposure, or people have been good to me as well. There's some big YouTubers who have been good to me as well, and it's just giving them some thanks.
No, that's really cool. Uh, I was gonna, if you don't mind, I wanted to share a funny story about the at games thing really
Oh yeah,
quick.
absolutely. Go ahead.
So I don't know if you video, and I decided not to make another video because I've been making too many at games videos right now. But the one thing that was really funny, so in the beginning when I was logging on to their Steam app, which shows up on their, I think you shared at least the interface on your channel so people understand like what's available to you. And so when I went to the Steam app, I was under the impression that the Steam app was running locally on the machine. Well, I was wrong, but I thought the Steam app was running locally. So when I found when I found that back door and I was looking at things like CPU and memory and that, I thought I was on the machine, which seemed weird to me because I was like, well, how are they doing this? How do they have a dual OS, PCB that's running both Linux or some flavor of Linux and Windows? I was like, that's kind of cool. But my console kits, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes,
Yeah,
you do.
yeah. So Justin he goes, I should create a meme because I thought I was on the machine, but really I was on at Games' cloud service. So when I was installing MAME, I was installing MAME on the at Games server, not the local machine. So I was disoriented as to where I was, and so console kits he goes, I wanted to create a meme that said, remember that time that Retro Ralph hacked at? Didn't know we hacked at, because I really didn't know I was on the cloud server till after. When I looked at how much memory was on it, there was 30 gigs of memory. So clearly that's not a local machine to have 30 gigs of memory.
Right.
But it makes sense if you're hosting a cloud service because you probably have many clients and you need the memory. So anyways, it was goofy. I felt kind of stupid about it, but it was funny because I don't know. When you tinker with stuff in the early days, sometimes it takes a while, but
Well,
but
yeah,
I was
and you're right, and I could see how you kind of got caught into that. But when I saw the video, I'm like, wait, there can't be piano processors in there, and how much memory? Like, there can't be.
no, I don't know
If
why.
they are, that had to be the best deal they got in China ever.
we got quad core, not a quad core. We got like a 14 core machine for your yeah, no,
It's a 5 pillar.
yeah, yeah, seriously. I was so excited that I wasn't even paying attention, and then after someone's like, I don't think that's the local machine. I'm all, damn it. So yeah. Anyway,
For anyone watching this who, all people watch this right now, maybe 6, but if any of those people are engineers out there, I know At Games welcomes people to make stuff for their machine. They have APIs. They'll be more than happy to to give out the API hooks into their system. I know they've already reached out and spoke to Arcade Graphics and a few other people about the dimensions of the machine for artwork and stuff like that.
yeah,
Because I'll say that's probably one of the weaker things some people may see it is. I mean,
yeah,
the cabinet doesn't scream, I got to have it. And I kind of talked about this a couple of times, and I'm going to beat the dead horse in here, is the draw to people for an At Games machine versus an arcade is, I think, very different. When people are buying these At Games machine, you're probably going to buy one. You're not going to buy like 5, 10, or 15. I mean, I have 11 of the Arcade One machines because I want to walk into a room, these things turned on, see Space Invaders, Centipede, all the machines I loved as a kid, and that's a certain type of experience. It brings back something that kids today they may think they go to these arcades today. It is not the same as going into
yeah,
the back of a video store or pizzeria, smoke in the room, kids spilling beer on you, 10 years old, they're like, ah! And you get dumped in beer, hit with a cigarette, and find a quarter on the floor to pay that one extra game of Frogger. that's what Arcade One Up experience is bringing back to me. It's really bringing back actually having arcade room in your home
Yeah,
without spending thousands of dollars on real machines. And you will buy multiple ones for that experience. If people are doing it. Oh, we got one sneaking in now. Who do we have here?
Tanner. This is Tanner. He can't hear you, but we're live right now.
He's
That's
on
Glenn.
YouTube.
Live.
Tell him we
You're on
got 5 people watching. We have 5 people in the world watching us right now.
5,000 people watching right now. Yeah, there is. 5,000. Well, it doesn't say it. It's on his side. But hey, let's what do you need? Oh, that's really cute. He showed me dog pictures, so I don't know. Let's see if we can see that really quick. This is the dogs downstairs. I don't know if you can see it. She's pretty
I
cute.
can see him. You know what the funny thing is? One of my neighbors, my dog Blue, out under a blanket. He never heard of a dog being in a house that had to be wrapped in a blanket to stay warm. How cold my house is over here. But you're in Arizona. I can't imagine it getting too cold in Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not cold over here. Yeah, it's probably like 65, 70 degrees right now. So it's not cold, that's for sure. All right, I'm trying to remember what you were talking about. You were
I was just
talking
talking about
home
when people
experience.
buy an arcade one, have to buy for the artwork a lot more than just playing the game. And they will buy multiple machines for that experience.
Yeah.
No one, at least I don't think anyone buy more than one of the at games machines. That's a very Swiss Army knife. You're going to play everything on this one machine. So maybe if you're limited, like really limited in space, the at game might make more sense for somebody. But someone who wants to have his friends, buddies all come over and have that camaraderie of playing multiple machines, Arcade One Up is going to be the better of the two. And there's differences, of course, more so than that. But I think that's like the first one that stands out to me. Everyone always says these people are better than those people, or this one's better here. It's like Ford versus Chevy, Tesla versus Porsche right now. It doesn't have to be that way. Just whatever is right to you, you're going to get a good machine either way.
Yeah, I agree. And people have been trying to force me to make an opinion one use different products. Because I get what you're saying. So from when I think back of the first MAME build I ever did, it was in a cabinet. I bought like an older cocktail cabinet, and it was kind of junky, and it was a real cocktail cabinet. It was in really rough shape. So I cleaned it all up, and I made a hyperspin machine. And what I noticed straight away is I started with like 10 games I liked. And remember back then you had to find what MAME build is going to work with MAME ROM set. So there's a lot to work, and then you got to hyperspin. So I felt like I got it, but I liked it, but then I kept adding games and adding games and adding games. And what I noticed is over time I had tons of games, and I'd stand in front of it and I'd scroll through the list, and come to find out I would never play anything.
You can tell everyone who's going to be joining us in a minute while I add him to the stream.
Okay. So do you want me to finish that thought, or should we
keep
just
going? Keep going.
Yeah. So notice that the more games, the less time I actually playing it, because I was spending more time to figure out what game I wanted. So I think there's a place for multicades, but I also think there's definitely a place, like Glenn is saying, it's like nostalgia. Have a bunch of friends, or we're playing a 4-player of it to figure out what game we're going to play. That's the game. Like I'm playing and kind of to play. So I like both options, but I don't think it's a one or the other either. I think there's actually to have a multicade and a bunch of arcade one-ups of maybe those fake games that you just really want to have as dedicated systems. So I view it as a.
And I agree. On that note, I have another gentleman community. This works. We'll have new software. We're going to find out if this is going to work. Here we have Mr. CoolToy, Douglas. Morning,
Hey.
Douglas. Can everyone see him?
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear us?
So we already got noise. That's a positive stride.
Thank you for joining. I
How you
know
guys
you were doing something before, and I kind of pulled you in.
Yeah, I was just trying to eat lunch real quick. It's like 12:30 here, so with time
Don't live
change,
stream on an empty stomach.
So you're about an hour behind me. It's 1:30 here.
Yeah.
And what, you're about 2 hours behind, right, Retro?
Yeah, it's 11:30 local time here.
Oh, so we got 3 time zones covered here. Look at this.
Oh, man, you
Yeah,
are. Yeah,
Arizona's weird though. Like they don't recognize daylight savings.
you don't
So
change.
they,
They're weird.
I wish it was
yeah,
Arizona then because I can't stand it.
yeah. This whole
Straight
getting dark at 5 o'clock stuff ruins my entire winter.
It does. It's well, we were just so you know, we were just kind of talking a little bit about how Retro Ralph did not get murdered by Classic Him when he snuck in what's behind your back right now. When he promised her that he was not going to do this, he was honestly not going to do this, and yet then again there it came. So with that
Well,
being said,
April didn't
Doug,
cover
I know you're also a married man.
I am, yeah.
So how did that go over there?
Um, the biggest thing that I got grief on was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and just magically driving up to Kansas City to buy it. My wife had texted me while I was driving home. I had already purchased it and I was on my way back, and she had just woken up and she thought I just went upstairs to work on the computer or something. She's, hey, can you come downstairs? I need to talk to you for a second. I was like, well, I'm still about an hour and a half away from the house, so that's gonna. So I got some grief there, but other than that, she's been relatively supportive, mainly just because she's a bit of a collector herself. She does all sorts of photography stuff, so she got props out the wazoo. We've got storage units, we've got a storage shed behind our house, so she accumulates things as much as I accumulate things. So I think she understands the whole collecting mentality. But she didn't understand why I needed another arcade. You know, to her, they're all the exact same thing. They just play video games, and I'm like, no, this one's. You know, I'm trying to explain the
It's like
differences and the
shoes.
nuances.
How many
Yeah,
pairs
and
of shoes
she's
does
just
she
like,
need, right?
yeah, yeah, shoes, purses, yeah, anything like that. But she's been supportive so far. We'll see if I try to bring home 2 or 3 more. See how that goes.
Well, this is the start of both of you guys' careers, and I got to take my hat off and congratulate you guys. You've been Cool Toy about a year and Retro about a year as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah, well, it'll almost be 11 months, so it's not quite a year yet, almost.
Yeah,
So
I
I've been
think I've
doing
got
this,
3 or 4 months
so that's
ahead of.
excellent. I mean, I know Cool Toy, you just hit 12,000 subs. Congratulations to you,
Thank you, sir.
Retro
Appreciate
Ralph. You're just about to break 11,000, right?
I did last night. I wasn't
Hey,
actively refreshing to see when it would happen either. I had
that.
no clue. I had no
very
clue it
good. Well,
happened.
I'm 4 years in, and I'm very happy. I think I got 4,600. I'm very happy for all of you out there who put up with me because I know my intros could be an hour and a half long before you get to the video, and then it takes up 20 minutes to get out of the end of the video. But I do appreciate it. Like all three of us. I mean, all of us are doing this for a couple of reasons, but definitely one is for the love of gaming, but also
Yes,
to help all the people out there. It's important to all of us.
100% agree. Absolutely.
So with that being said, and since Cool Toy are the newest one to join us, why don't you just give a little bit of feedback you have on the At Games legendary Ultimate cabinet?
Yeah, the end all be all arcade cabinet, as they will. So far everything's been overwhelmingly positive. It's been really kind of hard to like calculate and judge this thing because every single day it seems like there's a new something or another, a firmware update or a new feature that you can now add. I mean, if I was going to do a out of the box review on this a week ago, it would have been completely different as to what I would say about it today. So I've avoided doing like an overall here's my final review just because it's like a moving target and it's been very difficult to try to kind of nail it down. But for what it is and what it's trying to be and what I can see potentially on the horizon with this thing, I think it's a great value for what it is. $499. I think you're definitely getting a good bang for your buck, so to speak. And it's got lots of possibilities that I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, and it's weird. I mean, Sam's Club and Walmart are both, basically the same company, but you definitely get a much better value at Sam's. So if you can get it from there, I think that's the better place. It's cheaper, and you're getting more for your money.
Absolutely.
Now, I talked to Retro Ralph about that as well. What is probably your best feature you find on the cabinet? Is it the firmware upgrades that are constantly happening, and what's the thing you kind of not so
So I
much
would
on it?
I would definitely say the firmware update and just like the online connectivity, the fact that, they can go in there and fix a bug quickly or add a new feature just via a firmware update as opposed to shipping out a brand new PCB or something like that. I mean, that alone right there is that turnaround time is amazing. And so far they've been extremely responsive. They've been obviously communicating with us in the boards and things like that via email and things to that nature. And they've been really quick to take our feedback, implement it, and or put it up on the roadmap, so to speak, of things that they're internally working to deliver us. And then like the BYOG, I hated it as soon as I heard about the $1 an hour fee, but then as
Right.
soon as I
We're
heard
kind of
that
beating
we
that
could,
one, I tell you.
yeah, as soon as I heard that we could potentially, get around that with our own network, then I was super open to it. And now playing a lot of the Steam games on it, I've actually enjoyed a lot of that. Just the possibilities of playing some newer games that you would never get to play in an arcade, since arcades are a dying breed, especially with new games. You're not going to see like a Mortal Kombat 11 cabinet at an arcade. You're going to see 20 different versions of pay to win ticket prize things like that. So I'm super excited to be able to play something like Mortal Kombat 11 on an actual arcade unit, kind of as it was intended to be originally. And that's that kind of feature that really piques my interest on this more than anything.
And I also want to congratulate you as well. You got a new, not a black, was it a black belt you got? What did you get just recently?
Yeah, I got awarded
Big
my
deal.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt last night, and that's kind of why my voice is a little croupy. We were out celebrating last night with everybody, and we went and watched the UFC fights at a bar, and it was super loud. So just to talk to people, I was having to shout. So a little bit froggy, a little bit tired and wore out because we had a nice seminar and got beat up a lot yesterday in celebration of it. But yeah, it was 11 years of getting my butt kicked at the gym, so it's finally paid off.
Excellent. Well, again,
But
congratulations
there's
on
a
that.
dual purpose to that, right? So like you notice people don't tend to troll Douglas very often because they're like, this dude could kick my ass, so I'm gonna kind of like,
Yeah, I don't get as many keyboard warriors that are threatening me or anything like that. Yeah,
Now listen,
I
I'm going to come and give you a thing in my mind. Come on,
yeah, I had
Douglas.
somebody call me a steroided out jock though. I thought that was probably one of my favorite troll
oh
comments.
wow,
Yeah,
that's aggressive.
I'll find that person. It's fine. I'll go Liam Neeson on him. I have a set of skills. I can find them.
So whenever I think of internet trolling, I think of the one scene from Jay and Silent Bob where they actually like the internet becomes new to them and they're like, well, what do you mean? They go and find everyone and they go to their house and
Yep.
actually physically beat every one of them up. Like this little kid answers the door. He's like, you know what you did, right? And they grab him, they beat the crap out of him. And it's like, it's really funny to me. But whenever I think about that, I think about how funny would it be to like knock on someone's door and be like, did you say this about Glenn's retro show? And like,
Yeah.
Now, I also, Douglas, one other thing I would ask you too, because I know Street Fighter 2 is definitely one of your favorite games. So that's kind of well known. So outside of
Yes.
that, what would be like your next favorite game?
I'm a massive beat 'em up person, so I always struggle to like choose certain ones. The 6-player X-Men cabinet, the behemoth, that thing was awe-inspiring to me as a kid. I'm a comic book nerd as well, so anything comic related always gets my attention. So if I had to pick any besides just Street Fighter 2 as far as classic arcade games, I would probably go with like the X-Men arcade game from Konami.
Very good game.
I beat it all the time. It's all the like the English translation errors that we have, like "Welcome to Die" and things like that. Crack me up every single. It doesn't matter. I've seen it like 1,000 times, and "Welcome to Die" and all those horrible. Yeah, it cracks me up, those little things like that.
Now, the other key point you brought up as well, and Ralph talked about before, is the big thing going on right now with these companies making type of cabinets has been the communication between the manufacturer and the community. And I think that is making a huge impact on both sides of the coin, both in the way the manufacturers finding out what they're going to make next and how they're going to support it, and people just feeling good because they're being listened to.
Yeah, it's kind of unheard of to think that like the top level people are number one, responding directly to consumers, and number two, taking constructive criticism and or suggestions and like rolling with it. Like I can't think of another industry right now where something like that is really happening. I mean, typically
I can't
there's
see
just so many
Ford or
levels of
Chevy joining a forum and having the CEO come in and go,
you're not going to see
"Oh, you
that.
didn't like that steering wheel the way? Oh, okay. Well, we'll work on that."
Yeah, if anything, they try to distance themselves as much as possible from like,
Right.
they separate themselves with multiple layers, multiple people. They're like, oh yeah, contact our PR guy and send him a note, and then we'll give you an automated response, and maybe we'll respond to you 6 months down the line, that type of thing.
I felt
Okay,
personally that in the beginning, I felt like in the beginning when Arcade 1-Up first launched, at least for me, now I was smaller at the time as far as having a YouTube presence, but I felt like in the beginning they were not responding to anything that I said, and then over time, like as months tick by, they became more aware of, hey, maybe the community has something to say that's important, and I felt like they actually started to number one, listen, and then implement. So they definitely learned, I think, that being rigid wasn't the right idea. At least that was my experience with them. But I feel like Arcade One Up, if I want to talk about them specifically for this, they really started to listen, and I mean it started to show in the products, and they even embraced the modding community to some extent too. So I feel like you said, to CoolToy's point and yours, Glenn, is for a company to listen and then implement change like that and do it at a rapid fashion, that doesn't happen very often. So I don't know if everyone really understands the gravity of that. Like, that's a pretty cool thing for the community to have that much impact on the outcome of a product or the progression of the product. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, when I talked with Scott back in February, I mean, that first of all, for him even to, have a one-on-one talk with me to make the video for was
Very
huge
cool.
in its own right. But you're right; they are definitely listening, and the people just need to realize when they are listening, it still takes time to implement. Companies can't just switch on a dime, and I think, I mean, it took months, but you could see the new products that did come out. I mean, Douglas, you have the Star Wars cabinet, right?
Yeah,
And you have been
that thing
very
is
happy with that. There you
magnifique.
go. So,
At
I
that
mean,
price
it
point,
took
I'm still
time.
amazed. Yeah, there you go.
So, I don't think that cabinet necessarily would come out that good without them listening to us, finding out where there were faults, finding out what needed to be improved, and understanding that people would pay a little bit more for a product that was better.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's one of the big huge things. And again, that's them listening. And I did meet with them this past week, and I met them, and they are genuine. I really do believe that they want to do the best they can, but people have to realize there is a price point. It's a company; they got to make money. They got to feed their families. So, can you build it, or you build it? You build it cheaper, perhaps, but not everyone's got those skills. And even like me, I could do just about everything, but give me a piece of wood and cut it; it's gonna come out. That's what I'm gonna have. I could have that Wacko cabinet. I know my friend
Ooh.
Bruce Yeager wants a Wacko cabinet. I could probably build that one because it's supposed to be like this when you're playing it.
I think I could do the burger head because I'm pretty good with the jigsaw messing up. I think I could do burger time. Sorry, I think I could do burger time though because
Yeah,
my lines are never straight. They're kind of like so I could do at least the top of the burger time cabinet. I think I could do that. But outside of that, my jigsaw skills are pretty weak. As many
I'm
many.
really I'm really bad about measuring things. I like to eyeball everything, which is never good in woodworking in general. So I'm like, yeah, that looks like a straight line. Let's go for it. One, two, crap.
Well, I'll take a picture for you guys later. I have in the basement here. I have a door that goes to my washroom, and they warped a little bit over time, and it was hitting the floor a little bit. So I measured it right, and I got my saw, but I didn't really realize that if you hold the saw one way, the blade cuts this side, but if you turn it around, the blade's not
Uh-oh.
going to be on that side.
Oh no.
So I
You
couldn't cut this way. Oh, no big deal. I'll turn it. I cut it. I now can basically go under my door and just slide underneath because I have about that much of a gap in my door to my bathroom. My brother still laughs to this day when he looks down and goes, "What the hell did you do?" So I'm not good with wood.
Yeah, I'm not either, Glenn. So I'm in your boat.
Now, and just back to this as well, Douglas, because you obviously work, and
Yes.
Retro Up works. How do you work into your time? Because you go out to these shows as well. I've been trying to get out there, and I find it very difficult to get out to the shows. But I know you've been out at E3. You've been out
Mhm.
to the shows. I mean, how does that work in? How does the wife not murder you? I mean, share. Help us out.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. I literally almost have like a finite schedule to where I literally have blocks of time to where I have to allocate and set them aside for certain things. So I'm training and teaching at the gym 2 nights a week. So right out of that, I got a 9 to 5 job, get out of work, come home, let the dogs out, feed the dogs, change, drive back to town, go to the gym, teach. So like 2 days out of the week, completely off the right out of the gate. And then I got things like the weekends. So the weekends typically where I try to spend a lot of my time doing videos just because that's really the only free time I have. But you got things like family commitments or hey, let's go do something with the wife, things like that
I
should
just
take
read a
priority and are the priority. And I catch myself more and more like almost scheduling things like that. And I feel almost shameful when I have to do that because I'm like, yeah, wife, I'll pencil you in for let's say 12 to 4 on Saturday. That work for you type of thing. So it's really a give and take type of thing. But I've learned to just kind of chunk out certain days and certain times and say, okay, this is what I'll dedicate to either going to a show or creating some content or something like that. And I've also dedicated certain days and hours just to saying, all right, this is me time, this is wife time, this is family time, this is, I'm not gonna look at my phone, I'm not gonna play on YouTube, I'm not gonna do anything like that. I'm just gonna turn things off and I'm gonna dedicate time to the things that matter.
I just read a very funny comment. I just want to comment here. It was basically, are you guys using a soup can and string for your internet connection? So I I want to tell everyone, right now I am using a fairly old laptop. Exactly. And not the best internet connection. This is like my first time streaming in this particular fashion. Um, we have I have a show with another gentleman who was on last night, Steven, that we're going to be going with forward. This is something I kind of had set up in advance with both CoolToy and Retro Ralph, and I'm inviting them right now, both these guys, to please join us on the retro show we'll be doing. We'll set up, if it's okay with you guys, we'll set up a time to have you guys come on to go a little more in detail on your product reviews and stuff like that. This really is just a kind of a bromance bash talk session, if you will. Because obviously, I told Retro Ralph I want to love him at this meeting today instead of live stream. It was we're
No,
gonna have a love stream.
you said you wanted to love stream with me, and I was like,
I
Glenn,
did, and I still do. I
I'm
still
okay
do.
with
You're cute,
live
man.
streaming. Oh, jeez.
Wasn't sure if that was a typo or an autocorrect.
Yeah, I was like, Kim, what do you think about this? Is Glenn coming on to me, or does he want me to live stream? I'm not sure.
I love autocorrect, man. I've had some bad experiences with autocorrect, man. Don't speak into a phone for cook and send it to a woman.
Yeah,
Don't
no
do it. Do
news.
not do it. You'll be apologizing for quite some time.
Yeah.
We're really
Just a
stepping that
just a
one.
tidbit for you youngins out there. So, one last thing I just want to kind of talk about, Douglas, because you again joined a little bit late. I was talking before as well about there is Arcade One Up and there's the At Games machines, and that they're really people are kind of saying it's one or the other. This is the better one, that's the better one. My personal opinion is they're not the same demographic for them. The Arcade One Ups, when you're buying them for the artwork, for the games that are on there. So you're buying a Space Invaders cabinet because you really like the cabinet artwork, or the Centipede, or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You're going to buy 5, 6 of them. You're going to want to have a bunch of them to walk into a room and just admire them. The At Games machine, do you think people are going to buy more than one of them? You're going to be basically buying one and just playing on it, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the arcade one-ups are definitely, going to cater more towards the person that wants a dedicated, more actual look towards a true arcade. It's got the graphics. It's got, now we're getting, arcade shapes with the Atari cabinet and the Burger Time cabinet. We got dedicated controls that are kind of geared specifically towards that game as opposed to a multi-cade layout that we've got on the At Games cabinet. So other than the fact that they're arcade platforms, I really do think they divert in two different areas and facilitate the needs of two different types of gamers. Obviously, people are going to make comparisons because they're, lighter weight, certain priced, retail, pointed, bring home self arcade type things. They are obviously going to have a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences. And I think the multi-cade crowd, obviously, they're going to probably lean more towards the At Games cabinet, and then the people that really want that replicated true at home look and feel of the arcade, having multiple ones lined up and having that ambient sound of 5 different games going on at the same time, they're really going to gravitate towards the arcade one-up. So I think there's going to be plenty of room for both in the market for the At Games cabinet and the arcade one-ups to succeed and thrive. I don't think either one of them are going to run each other out of town.
I agree. What do you think, Ralph?
I think we all, yeah, that's pretty much how I answered it too. I totally agree that they're kind of two separate markets. I actually feel like there'd be a lot of complementary purchases. Just someone saying, "Hey, I kind of want more of this multi-cade as well." So I like my dedicated game. Like I want to play Turtles in that 4-player format, and I want it to look that way, and I want to invite my buddies. But yeah, maybe sometimes we just want to hack around with a bunch of different games. And I think that's the beauty of the app game system is it's definitely more of that multicade kind of thing where Arcade 1-Up, it's nice. It's for that person that has that nostalgic feeling to that one game or those couple of games. So I think there's going to definitely be a market for both. There is a market for both. And I actually think you're going to see more people that adopt Arcade 1-Up buy one of these on the side just because they want that. They want that multi-kit too. And maybe they want to Douglas's point earlier, maybe they want to play. Sorry, I keep going back to calling like you guys your screen names versus your actual names, but you can call me Ralph. It's fine.
But, my secret identity. How cool?
I know, right? I do feel like, it's kind of cool to me. Like I get really excited, like Douglas fan. The fact that the first game I tried on this wasn't even a game on it. It was, hey, I want to play Street. Like that was the first game I tried. I didn't even try the 350. So like that, the Arcade 1-Up makes a Street Fighter 4 at some point, but I know there's a whole bunch of things that would have to happen for that to be possible. But there's a market for both, man. I think it's going to be a complementary thing versus one or the other kind of thing. I mean, unless you have space constraints, in which case it may be a one or the other for that particular consumer, right?
I totally agree.
I hear a lot of background noise, Glenn. I'm thinking your time is limited right now.
Yeah, I have, my mother, she's not feeling too well, so I think she's worked her way down the stairs. So,
I feel like Cole like this. Dad's live streaming. Dad's live
Holding
streaming.
up the time card.
Yeah.
yeah, for someone who's a single dad, they have a lot of interruptions at times. I put up signs and everything saying, doing a streaming, but doesn't always work out. But you guys know how that is.
Yeah. I've learned I have to put a recording in progress sign on the outside of my door because there's been numerous times where I'm trying to do an intro or something and the wife will come in or like the dogs will barge in and I'm like, I was good flow. Everything was coming together and then now I got to start it all over.
Take 105.
Oh man.
Yep.
Good thing digital tape is easy to erasable, not like the old days with film.
Thank God. Thank God. I do not miss buying all the cassettes I had to take for my media classes in college and high school. I spent a lot of money on cassette tapes.
Glenn, I don't know how much time we have left here, but my streaming quota is about to run out here.
I agree. I think we'll wrap it up now. But again, I want to thank people for joining. This stream was kind of really just a quick thing we put together right now. But I do want to have both Retro Ralph and CoolToy to join us on our second and third episode of the retro show we're doing. And we're going to probably talk a little more of the technical side. Again, this was just want to find out more about my love stream here, Retro Ralph, and my protector up here, Douglas. If it gives me a hard time, he's going to karate chop to death. There we go. So I want to thank you all for watching. And just like I've had before, well, if you guys were saying before we go, before I end it, or you guys, you can say anything you want. This is your chance. Speak to the people.
Oh man.
I just want to apologize for being late. Like I said, I showed up a little in the middle of this, so that's not polite. But I had to eat some food. And I just appreciate you having me out. I'd love to join you on the tech show later on. And good chatting with you guys.
Excellent. Well, guys, I want to thank you all for joining. And thank people out there for joining. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Line. And game on.
Game on. 1, 2, we do 1, 2, 3.
Game on.
All right.
All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Tiny Arcade fan page. Remember, don't admire people too much. They'll disappoint you.
Good dog.